Good day, boxing fans. Friday night on The Zone. It's a pay-per-view in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. Of course, we've got a couple of big heavyweight bouts. Anthony Joshua, AJ, is taking on Francis Ngannou, the former UFC champion. And we've got Zhilei Zhang against Joseph Parker. Really looking forward to that one. We've got a great WBC featherweight title fight between Ray Vargas and Nick Ball. South Africans will remember Nick Ball for the Ludumo Lamati fight that almost ended tragically. But luckily, Ludumo made a full recovery. But I'm interested to see if Nick Ball can become a world champion. But I haven't got quite enough time today to break down that fight as well. But there's a fight that's of interest to us as South Africans. It's a 10-round heavyweight bout, which features Australian undefeated 8-0 heavyweight prospect Justis Huni against our very own Kevin Lerena. Now, I think it will be a good fight. I think they're underestimating Kevin Lerena. If you're interested to know how I see Justis Huni, Kevin Lerena going down, then stick around. Justis Huni, he's had a solid amateur career. I believe he won bronze at the Amateur World Championships. He's 8-0 now with 4 knockouts. And in his last fight, he sort of had a step up. He outpointed the former cruiserweight contender Andrew Tabiti. And now he takes on another former cruiserweight contender or former IBO world champion, if you recognize for IBO, Kevin Lerena, and in another step up. So, has he bitten off more than he can chew, or does the betting odds that favour Justis Huni, is that justified? Everybody is picking Huni to win this fight, and are they underestimating Kevin Lerena? I think they are, actually. Now, Kevin Lerena, long-time top 5 cruiserweight, and he's definitely at 30-2, the more seasoned fighter. He's much more experienced as a professional. At least he didn't have an amateur background of Huni. But that's nothing. He's always dealing with that. He's shown he can deal with that, so that's a non-point at this moment. But Kevin Lerena, of course, started dabbling in the heavyweight division, knocked down Daniel Dubois 3 times before getting knocked out or stopped himself in the 3rd round. And then, of course, he bounced back admirably from that. Now that's the 225-pound bridgerweight division between cruiserweight and heavyweight of a WBC. That's not recognized by most people, but the WBA is starting that division as well. They call it Super Cruiserweight. And I think that's a better name than Bridgerweight, by the way. Let me know in the comment section if you agree. But now he's won the WBC interim belt at that 225-pound division. And now he's back as a heavyweight and he's fighting Justis Huni. I'm kind of curious why he's taking that fight, because the WBC champion in that Bridgerweight division, Lukas Rozanski, is going to have to fight him, or Kevin will become the fully recognized WBC champion. People may not recognize that division now, but it may change in the future, and we have a lot of revisionist history, and then he'll be going down in history as a world champion if that happens, which I think it eventually will. But now he's taking a chance going into the heavyweights, fighting Justis Huni. I wonder if he loses, what that will do to his status as WBC interim belt holder. I'll be honest with you, I haven't got the inclination to go and look through the WBC rules. So let me know if you know. I would think because he's fighting in another division, he might remain as the WBC interim belt holder. But then again, it's not like he's challenging for a world title in heavyweight. So maybe he might lose his status. I'm not quite sure. Who really cares at the end of the day? It's about this fight. But I wonder why they're taking this fight. And the only reason I can think is, number one, I've met Kevin Lerena quite a couple of times. And he's a very confident sort of character. He believes in himself. And at this stage of his career, he wants to test himself. And he at least is willing to fight everybody. And he remains fixated on that heavyweight division. Now, I think that's part of it. And the other part of it, which shows you the problem with his bridgerweight division, perhaps, I'm sure he's getting a very good payday against Justis Huni. That also must be motivation. Better than he can make in that bridgerweight division, it must be substantially more. And that's going to be the curse of a bridgerweight 225-pound division, just like it used to be for the cruiserweights. Now, all that aside, I think it's a step up for Justis Huni. Yes, Andrew Tabiti was also a world-class fighter, but Kevin Lerena brings a few other things to the table. And Andrew Tabiti was very competitive against Justis Huni. And Huni is not a huge heavyweight. He's 6'4", he weighs around the 240s. Now, even though he's not a huge heavyweight, he's substantially bigger than Kevin Lerena. Huni is about the size of Daniel Dubois. And you could see the size difference in the ring there. At least it's not a giant gap like it would have been with a Fury or a Joshua or a Zhang. But he is substantially bigger. Kevin Lerena is really pushing it as a heavyweight. So there's that. Now, the other thing is, Huni, as a professional, he's been in some tough fights. He's had a war there in Australia with Kiki Lutele. It's a good fight. If you look at that Lutele fight, then it was tit for tat, but Huni won quite clearly. He just outworked Lutele and he had the better hands. But Lutele did hit him with a lot of right hands over and over and over again. And Justis Huni is quick. He's got very quick hands. He likes it on the inside. Double left hooks to the body, uppercut, double hooks to the top. He likes these fast inside combinations. Older ones among us, people my age might remember Michael Dokes from when I was still a kid. He had that fast combos as a heavyweight on the inside. Now that is Justis Huni. So Kevin Lerena against the bigger guys is accustomed to being a quicker guy. Now his hands are not quicker than Justis Huni's hands, so that advantage falls away. Huni, with his hands at least, just as quick as Kevin Lerena. Lerena may be on his feet, on the balls of his feet, and his side steps on his legs may be quicker than Justis Huni. So that speed advantage, at least when the punches are flying, I don't think is necessarily going to be on the side of Kevin Lerena. But Justis Huni, in contrast to Daniel Dubois, Dubois can whack. And Dubois redeemed himself somewhat there with his outing against Jarrell Miller. But I don't think Justis Huni is the puncher that Daniel Dubois is. He's got trouble with his hands. He had an egg here in his hands after the gloves came off after one of his fights. So he throws arm punches. It's quick punches. He whacks it in, and it's fast. But he doesn't quite sit down on the punches. That's the impression I get. And I think that's because of his hands. People will remember another Aussie fighter, Jeff Fennick, lots of problems with his hands. And, he also started just throwing these quick punches and not stop sitting down on them. Now, not that Justis Huni is ever Jeff Fennick. Jeff was a great fighter. But now he's taking a step up. And I think it's going to be a difficult night for Justis Huni, quite frankly. And why? Because Kevin Lerena is a southpaw. Huni must have faced it as an amateur, but I don't think he's quite seen anything like Kevin Lerena as a pro. I think that's going to give Justis Huni some trouble. Huni eats right hands. So far, he's shown a good chin. Andrew Tabiti seemed to, stun him momentarily. I don't think Kevin Lerena is a big puncher, despite those 3 knockdowns of Daniel Dubois. I think it was more the speed that surprised Dubois and something there in Dubois' knee. If we look at how Dubois performed against Jarrell Miller, big baby, then I think that was a perfect storm of events there. So I don't see Kevin Lerena being able to hurt Justis Huni and take him out of there. I might be wrong, because Lerena doesn't have always knockouts, but he hits his opponents, and his opponents then become sort of in a shell, like we saw in the Riyad Murray fight. Murray was sort of in a shell. He didn't quite let his hands go consistently enough, so he lost a close fight. So Lerena must hit hard enough to stop the guys from marching in and letting their hands go, but not hard enough to take them out necessarily. So for Kevin Lerena, where Justis Huni is good is on the inside. You don't want to sit with him on the ropes or here head-to-head exchanging for protracted periods of time, because he's just going to outwork him with his pop. Justis Huni's got good stamina. He can do that from 1 to 10. We've seen him do that. So he's got the stamina. He's got good hand speed. He also has a good right hand from the distance. And Kevin Lerena, that's a classical reply to a southpaw. It's a cliche, I know, but Lerena does eat some right hands. I've seen Mary land that right hand against him repeatedly. So Kevin will have to look out for that right hand, because that's a one shot that Huni will throw from the outside, and I imagine Huni will try to get inside. So it's going to be a lot about distance control here. I think Lerena needs to move, step around him. He needs to avoid a phone booth war. So he's got to do what's mostly his style. You know, he likes to be at the distance, jump in, explode in a combination, and then he turns you around and he is out again and he's away. So that's how he's going to have to box against Justis Huni. And Justis Huni, we're not quite sure how good he is as a pro. So, you know, but the Andrew Tabiti fight was a good thing for Justis Huni. But I think Kevin Lerena is a lot more awkward than Andrew Tabiti, perhaps. He's less orthodox and he's got a funny rhythm. He may look easier on film than he is in the ring. There's an awkwardness to him that you notice when you're ringside as opposed to watching on TV. And I think Kevin Lerena is a difficult style for Justis Huni. He's going to struggle to pin him down long enough to get that pop going. And if Lerena can control the distance, move in and out, Huni is not the puncher that Dubois is. I doubt it. I don't see it. You know, 8-0 with only 4 knockouts, still only at this sort of level. And so I don't think Justis Huni is going to be able to take Kevin out like Daniel Dubois did in the end. So that's a good thing for Kevin Lerena. Bad thing for Kevin Lerena, he's not going to have maybe the hand speed advantage that he's used to having against the bigger guys. But I think he might have better feet. I think he might have better side-to-side movement. So to me, Justis Huni is a favorite simply because he is a heavyweight. He's definitely a talented fighter. But Lerena is a much more seasoned fighter. If they were the same size, more or less, if it's happening at 225 pounds, I would put Kevin Lerena to win a good fight. But now they're not. They're fighting again as heavyweights now, and I don't know. I don't know if Huni's speed and his busyness can overcome. It could perhaps, because Lerena, all his biggest fights. His very biggest wins were close fights, you know, Mickey Nielsen, Dimitra Kutcher, Yuri Kalenga, Riyad Mehri, and can he win a close fight in Saudi? Because I think the business of boxing will be on Justis Huni's side as a heavyweight, and that's what worries me a bit. But let's say that the judges do their job, it's called straight down the middle. I do think Lerena can win this fight. I do think he can frustrate Huni and do enough in spots to come away a winner on points. And that's also taking account that there are question marks over Justis Huni's head. We certain things that we don't know about him yet. He can fight a war and win like he did against Luteli, but Kevin Lerena is a much more complicated fighter than Kiki Luteli, who just comes straight forward. And he's shown that he can handle a guy against Andrew Tabiti, but he struggled there for the first half of the fight, definitely. So it's about ring generalship. If Kevin Lerena can control that, and he's a good ring general, I think he can come on top. If Huni can pin him down and keep him in the corners and keep him in the trench warfare, I think if Justis Huni is going to wear him down, and I think he will overcome Kevin Lerena then to win on points. But guys, please remember to punch that like button, by the way, and then tell me in the comment section, who do you got here, Kevin Lerena or Justis Huni, and why do you say so? But maybe because I've watched Kevin Lerena so many times from ringside, and of course I know sort of his attitude. He does have a certain mental fortitude, the way he made a comeback with those 2 wins after the Dubois defeats, and that awkwardness of his. So I'm going to stick my neck out, and I'm going to say Kevin Lerena wins a split decision here, and hands Justis Huni his first defeat as a professional. That's what I think. And until I see you guys again, thank you for subscribing. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and remember to keep those hands up.